4 locks and 4 keys, unshakable peace under all circumstances. From the core teachings of Inside Patanjali's Words by Reverend Jagannath Carrera. Yoga Sutra 1.33. The mind becomes calm, clear, and bright when it cultivates and abides in the unconditional virtues of friendliness, compassion, delight, and equanimity in conditions, respectively, of happiness, distress, virtue, and absence of virtue. This sutra is not just about learning to deploy specific techniques in situations of happiness, unhappiness, virtue, and non-virtue. It is about cultivating an intimate relationship with friendliness, compassion, delight, and equanimity. In doing so, these virtues will flourish in our minds and hearts. The focus here, as in almost all of yoga, is on behavior rather than belief. Belief is a matter of accepting ideas. Behavior is about integrating practice and lifestyle choices into daily life. In the Yoga Sutras, as in every body of sacred wisdom, we find there are core teachings that are not simply telling us what to do and what to believe. Instead, they embody freedom of choice. Options are presented along with their possible ramifications. The 4 locks and 4 keys are prime examples of exercises in choice. Let's look at the 4 virtues found in this sutra. Maitri is friendliness, friendship, benevolence, goodwill. From mid, to love, feel affection, to melt, to adhere. The main idea is to cultivate a mindset that projects and is led by friendliness in situations and people where we perceive happiness. It is about making friends, cultivating a relationship with happiness, so that we can recognize and welcome happiness wherever and in whomever it expresses. In Buddhism, Maitri is often translated as loving kindness. Karuna is compassion, mercy, pity. In the Rig Veda, Karuna is considered a holy work or action, from kur, to do, or to pour out and scatter. Karuna, compassion, is the deep hope that the suffering of others will be reduced and overcome. It is not only a nice sentiment. Compassion is a powerful generator of a clear, focused, peaceful mind that naturally leads to selfless actions performed for the benefit of others. Science has recently affirmed that the happiness innate in giving is greater than the happiness derived from receiving. Mudita is delight, happiness, gladness, joy with others. From mood, be merry, glad, happy, rejoice, delight in, sympathetic joy, happiness at another's success. Mudita is the happiness that comes from expanding our concerns to include caring about and working for the happiness and welfare of others. It begins when we realize that there is more to life than our personal interests. When we extend our goals and desires to include caring for the welfare of others, we experience an expansion of joy. Mudita is happiness connected to a view of life that anticipates, even perceives, the beauty, benefit, and inherent rightness of an object or event, even before those benefits have fully emerged. It's not a simple state of optimism, but an enhanced or expanded vision of life that experiences the harmony behind all events and objects. It is delighting in a flower before it blooms, before it manifests its colorful petals and releases its fragrance. Mudita requires faith, knowledge, and a more refined ability of perception. The kind of perceptive power that is born from meditation, study, and non-attachment. Mudita rejects jealousy and envy. It seeks to break down all artificial barriers that separate us from each other and nature. It rejoices in the good fortune and happiness of others. Mudita is an eagerness and ability to support the joy and expanding spirit of others. The Buddha taught that one of our challenges is to cultivate mudita even in a world full of misery. Let us strive to follow his advice. There may be no more powerful practice in yoga than mudita. Upekshanam is equanimity, the act of disregarding, overlooking, not doing, care, circumspection. From upa is to go near or towards, and iksha is to look at or on. Look at the roots of the words upeksha. It is translated as equanimity, but taking into account the origin of the word, we could also translate it as going near to look at. This gives us the key to what it is and how to cultivate it. When confronted with any non-virtue, yogis are asked to not turn away, to not jump to conclusions, but to remain clear, focused, and centered in order to correctly perceive the event and its ramifications. Clear perception and a tranquil mind also foster creative solutions where none were apparent before. Upeksha strengthens our capacity to accept life as it is, allowing us to work with and not against inevitable change. It allows us to accept that non-virtue exists, has a course, and may have roots and impacts on many levels. Upeksha is a state of mind that is not overwhelmed by ignorance, selfish egoism, dullness, agitation, hatred, or greed. Upeksha helps us to serenely accept loss and gain, blame and praise, sorrow and happiness. Because of this, upeksha helps overcome fear. Upeksha helps us to avoid condemning others. Instead, we come to rightly perceive, accept, and love others in their entirety, faults and all. We come to perceive all people as members of one human family, regardless of their beliefs, behavior, or origin. Since we can't eliminate or avoid negative situations in people, upeksha teaches us the limits of self-effort. This helps cultivate humility, which softens the grip of the selfish ego on the mind, which in turn helps cultivate forgiveness, gratitude, cooperation, generosity. We can think of upeksha as cultivating the attitude of a scientist, a mind bent on discovering realities not readily discernible. When yogis confront any unpleasantness, they don't shrink from it. Instead, they examine it, looking for its roots and ramifications.